Good day, students. Welcome to this subject, English as a Second Language, Mathayom 5/3 and Mathayom 5/4. Your teacher here, Miss Michelle Joy. Let's proceed to our online learning discussion now. Class, before we proceed to our online learning discussion, I would like us to have a short review or recap of the last topics that we have discussed before your PA2. So it's about sequencing. Sequencing is putting the events in a story in the order in which they happened. And in sequencing of events, we have transition words. So we use these transitions to show how events took place over time. So I will read to you some examples of transition words that we used. First, next, then, lastly, finally, later, eventually, at last, meanwhile, in the meantime, meanwhile, in the end, suddenly, before long, all of a sudden, the next day, afterward, as soon as, and over time. So these were the topics that we have discussed last week. So class, for the objectives of the lesson, we have number one, students must be able to know what an interview, an interviewer, and an interviewee is. Number two, students must be able to know different types of an interview. So I expect that at the end of this online discussion, you already know the differences of interview, interviewer, and interviewee, and of course, the different types of an interview. This topic is very much related to you now because this is your last year in Mathayom, and next year you will be going to university, and while waiting for your university to start, then you can find some jobs to keep yourselves busy. So you are going in for an interview, and if you pass the interview, then you will be having a work. So class, these are the two topics that we are going to study this week. What is an interview and the different types of an interview? These are the following vocabulary words that can help us better understand our topic. Please repeat after me so you can still practice your reading skills and your speaking skills even if you're just at home. Are you ready now? Let's start reading. Number one, question. Number two, answer. Number three, interview. Number four, interviewer. And number five, interviewee. What is a question? A question is a request for information or action. So if you want to know something, then you can ask question to obtain the data or information that you want to get. Answer means reply, response, respond, retort, return, satisfy, solution, rejoinder, meet, and explanation. So if you ask a question and the person gave you an information about the question that you have asked, then that is the answer. Next is interview. What is interview? So an interview is a conversation between two or more people where questions are asked to obtain information about the interviewee. Next word is interviewer. Interviewer, one who interviews, especially one who obtains an interview with another for the purpose of eliciting his opinions or obtaining information for publication. And the last word that we have is interviewee. Interviewee means respondent, applicant, candidate, subject, contender, entrant, interlocutor, dialogist, aspirant, and hopeful. So interviewee is the one who is giving answers, and interviewer is the one who is asking questions. So these are the 5 vocabulary words that can help us better understand our topic for this week. Let's repeat them again from numbers 1 to 5. Question, answer, interview, interviewer, and interviewee.
Job interview skills. A program to master the difficult stages and situations in a job interview. Job interview skills, introduction and definitions. What is an interview? An interview is a screening process in which you are given an opportunity to learn more about the prospect, that is your organization, while the organization also has the opportunity to evaluate you as a prospective employee. A personal interview is an important step in the process of selection of a candidate for a job, or for an admission to a business school. The interview process provides you with a face-to-face opportunity to set yourself apart from your competition, and expand on the information the employer already knows about you from your resume. As a well-prepared candidate, you can use the interview process to send the message that I'm the best person for the job, to everything you say and do. The interview is a critical step towards the goal of employment or admission. It is at the interview that the job is often won or lost. The best test of any job search is the number of interviews you are offered. If you're constantly approached for interviews, you should expect job offers. If you're not getting interviews, you need to really evaluate your job search strategy. If you have been called for an interview, you can assume that the organization is interested in you and that the employer has a need that you may be able to meet. Interviews can be stressful, but when you are well prepared, there is no reason to panic. An interview generally lasts from 30 to 60 minutes and most questions fall into standard categories. The good news is that interviews are often highly predictable, and you can do a great deal of advanced preparation that can potentially minimize your chances of elimination. But they can also be tricky and unpredictable if you are underprepared or overconfident. Interviews are all about trying to identify patterns of behavior in the candidate that will carry through from the selection process into their working life.
This was a demonstration video for Job Interview Skills. For complete program, visit us at letstalk.company.in. If you like this video, kindly share your comments, which will encourage us to make more videos for you. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking subscribe button just above this video. Thank you for watching us. Take care.
Let us read and discuss about what is an interview. So, interview. An interview is a conversation between two or more people where questions are asked by the interviewer. So, the person who's asking question is called interviewer, to elicit facts or statements from the interviewee. Interviewee is the person who's going to answer the question. So, elicit facts means to get facts, statement, data, or information. So, interviews are a standard part of qualitative research. So, a formal meeting in person, especially one arranged for the assessments of the qualifications of an applicant. So, when you say qualifications, class, are the things that can make you get the job, or the things that the interviewer are going to consider if they are going to hire you or not. Now, class, let us discuss about the components of an interview. So, components of interview. There are two basic components of interview. They are the interviewers and interviewees. An interview is a two-way exchange. It is a conversation in which both participants have some goals. So the interviewer wants to determine, like, can the candidate do the job? Will the candidate fit in? Is this the best candidate for the position? And the interviewee wants to determine, do I want this job? Can I do this job? Or does this job offer me the opportunities I want for advancement or experience? So it's a two-way exchange between interviewer and interviewee. Interviewer asks questions and interviewee answers questions. Now, class, there are different types of an interview, but there are six major types of interview: structured interview, unstructured interview, group interview, individual interview, informal interview, and formal interview.
Arguably the most crucial part of the job search, an interview can make or break an opportunity. So to help you really prepare, we're going to dissect and analyze an entire interview from start to finish. I'll be sprinkling in a mix of tips about body language, etiquette, and how to answer common questions. Like, when exactly does the interview start? How do you deal with nerves? And how soon can you follow up? For years, athletes have used science and data analysis to improve. Now, we are doing the same for job seekers everywhere. This is Job Science. Meet Anya, a recent grad majoring in business administration. She's interviewing for an entry-level project management position. Note her posture. Head up, shoulders pulled back, no slouching, and no laid backness. The interview begins the minute you walk into the building. Anya treats everyone in the office with respect while keeping eye contact. From security personnel to receptionists, anyone you run into on your way in could be asked to give feedback on you. It's normal to be nervous. When nerves kick in, the natural human response is to take short breaths and breathe faster. Stay calm by taking a deep breath before entering. Hold it, count to 3, and then slowly breathe out. Pause. First, ace those introductions. Greet everyone in a way that is authentic to you, like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and then say their name. That one always works. You know, you're more likely to remember their name if you say it out loud when you first meet. A lot of the time, small talk comes up before any questions. It's good to have a few current events or topics in mind. You can't possibly predict what they're gonna ask, but you can practice answering the common ones, like, why do you wanna work here? What makes you unique? Let's see what our interviewer asks.
So I want to hear more. Tell me a little about your experience and what you'd bring to this role.
Pause. When this is asked, they're looking to learn what makes you stand out. Be honest with your answers. That means having to pause and think for a second. That is all right. Think about your past experiences and how the role lines up with your future goals. It never hurts to be honest.
Great question. Ever since I was young, I've always been the organized one in my family. Whether it was helping my parents schedule vacations or color coordinating my closet, naturally that lifestyle got me here, project management. I've been a people person for as long as I can remember. Plain and simple, I love team building and making sure everyone has a part. Just the other month.
Ooh, just really quick, don't speak negatively about previous places you've worked. Instead, talk about what you've learned.
I helped lead a team of 5 to deliver a 3-week sales project a few days ahead of schedule. I'd love to bring these things here.
Perfect. A response like this not only answers the question, but also shows off her personality. But remember, there's no one right way to interview and answer questions. Be yourself and let your personality shine. Be aware of your movements. Practice polite, confident body language. Subtly miming your interviewer's posture can actually create a sense of connection. Of all places, unnecessary movements are hard to ignore in an interview. Whether it's tapping your fingers or bouncing your leg, be aware and stay present.
Hey, it's been great chatting so far. I guess my last question is, do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, this is a hot one. Make sure to have a short list of questions for your employer in your back pocket. Ask the questions you would if you got the job. If tomorrow was your first day, what would you want to know from the manager? Even if you don't have any burning questions, asking a few shows that you did your homework and that you really care. Some include, what do you like best about working here? What are some mistakes people have made in this position? What is a goal you're currently working toward? How will my performance be evaluated?
Well, I did read that you're expanding your software team next quarter. I'm curious how you plan to carry that out.
The interview isn't actually over. Always follow up within 24 hours with a thank you email to the hiring manager. This can be a quick note simply thanking them for their time, or a longer one that elaborates on some of the things you talked about. It's key to leaving a lasting impression. This was the breakdown of an interview. Till next time.
Now, class, let us discuss about the important thing in an interview. So, important thing in an interview: confident, well-developed interpersonal communication, merit-based selection, be positive, relax during interview, and must be clear your concept and idea. Important skills. So you have to have writing skills, communication skills, listening skills, high self-esteem, decision making. So in the interview class, you have to show confidence, but please do not be arrogant. So let's continue about the important thing in an interview. So preparing for the interview, research the organization. So you have to know the company you are applying for. About you, you have to prepare yourself, of course. Tests and presentations if you have to demonstrate the job descriptive you are applying for. Being professional, be punctual, do not be late in your interview, and of course, dress politely. Being prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally. Now, let's go to the tips for effective interview. Arrive in good time. Do not be late, but do not come too early as well. Dress appropriately. Act appropriately. Engage with the interviewers. Answer the questions. And what are the purpose of interview? So job interview, admission interview, celebrate interview, and article interview. So class, just to summarize the topic that we have discussed. So what is an interview? An interview is a conversation between two or more people. Questions are asked to find out if the applicant is suitable for the job. The interview centers around one main question: why should I give this job to you? Communication, because it's a two-way process between the interviewer and the interviewee. We also discussed about the two components of interview, which are interviewers and interviewee. Interviewer is the person who conducts the interview, and interviewee is the person who appears for the interview. There are different types of interviews: screening or telephone interview, video conferencing, one-on-one face-to-face interview, group interview, panel interview, behavioral interview, and sequential interview. But we have the six main or major types of interview class, okay, which we discussed during our online discussion. Now, class, for your activity, which is about job interview, link for live worksheet is in Google Classroom, of course. Please answer the activity. And after you answer activity, click finish, click check me answer, and screenshot your score and upload in ESL album in your line group. So this is how it looks like. So you have to fill in the missing word in here. Choose the correct word to complete in the blanks and click finish. Thank you, everyone, and good luck. So class, we now come to the end of our online learning discussion. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments that you want to ask Miss MJ, please feel free to call me in my personal line account or send me a message in my line account, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye. Stay safe, everyone.